to 10 days to germinate. But what it determines that is your water application here. If you give them a lot of water, they'll be dormant, keeping them soft dormant because there's no temperature to activate them to grow, to come out. Yeah. So once they have germinated, assuming 7 days or 10 days, your seedlings, you have seen 50% have sprouted. Remove your what? Mulching. If you leave the mulching there, these seeds will, once they are out, they'll look for light. Remember, you have covered it. They don't have access to light. So if they are under that shade, they will struggle to look for light, and you find them growing, bending every side. So by the time you remove them, actually the disadvantage of leaving the mulch for longer, by the time when the seedlings have overgrown, they have penetrated through those the mulch material. By the time you are removing it, you are uprooting your seed. The moment you see 50% have germinated. Yeah. So when you see 50% are out, remove your mulch. Don't leave it. If you leave it, by the time you are removing the mulch, you are going to lose the 50%. This which have gone through. The mulch will remove them. No, when you are removing, it will uproot them. So do it when they are just 50% out.
After removing the mulch, water the seedlings gently.
The best time for removing mulch should be in the evening hours. Don't do it in the morning. Remove it in the evening hours. Once you remove it, give them water. Why? Why evening hours? Anyone can ask me why evening hours?
The temperatures are cool.
Exactly. These are babies. Babies, you need to handle them very, very careful. So the moment you expose them to daylight, like now these temperatures right now, tomorrow you'll start seeing others dropping out, dying.
Yeah.
So to avoid that, you open your seedlings, remove the mulch in the evening hours. You remove, you give water. Then tomorrow morning you come and you give them water.
1 to 2 days after removing the mulch, apply preventative fungicide to the seedlings.
So you give them fungicide. Do it between the first day or the second day. Give them chemical. Then from there you can do schedule of every spray of 5 days, 7 days, depending on the temperatures. I mean the weather of the day, the weather of the week. If it's cloudy and I know these areas are having a lot of dews, you reduce the cycle, you come to 4 days. Every after 4 days, you give them chemical. If temperatures are okay, normal temperatures, you can extend your interval even up to even 2 weeks. What reduces the intervals of chemical application is the weather. Yeah. If it's bad weather, you have to reduce. If it's good weather, you go to the normal intervals, because most of the chemicals, the real intervals are between 7 to 14 days. When they are 4 days from the day of opening, that's where you start counting. 4 days. Give them a starter fertilizer, foliar fertilizer, to start giving them energy to grow. Yeah. You can do that. There are so many foliar fertilizers in the market, very many for the nursery stage. There are very many. Any can work. Yeah. And then when they are between 5 and 7 days, give them an insecticide. Should also be preventative insecticide. They are also there.
Yeah.
When your seedlings reaches 4 weeks old, the foliar you have been giving them, which is a starter, change it to vegetative. That will help these seedlings to be strong enough and hardened. By the time you transplant them, they'll not feel the transplanting shock.
Sure.
Yeah.
At 4 days from mulch removal, apply foliar fertilizer. Then at 5 to 7 days, apply a preventative insecticide. At 4 weeks, switch to a vegetative fertilizer to strengthen the seedlings and protect them from shock when transplanting. Always clear the weeds in your nursery.
any bed has to be free from weeds. Then from there, we're going to just maintain this bed to make it proper, to look like a proper bed.
Also, ensure that the base of your ridges is leveled at the same distance with the top. This helps control soil erosion.
Put it only here, on the inside. You leave the top. Scoop your soil, fill it well, up to this level. Does it easily destroy it. Yeah, if you can do it here, you can do it all. And then if you don't level the top, the amount of the seeds you'll put will be less. And also, the water flow. Even when irrigating, if the bed is not flat enough, the water will not balance properly. You can water, the water keep on running on the sides. So you need to make the base really flat so that any water you give doesn't escape.
Before we continue, let's take a short commercial break.
Welcome to Coffee Production Tips, brought to you by Uganda Coffee Development Authority. Uganda Coffee Development Authority is the government agency mandated to promote and oversee the coffee industry as a whole by developing research, facilitating coffee production and productivity, by training farmers on good agricultural practices, controlling the quality and improving the marketing of coffee for the benefit of stakeholders. In this series, a trained farmer, Mr. Wally Christopher, gives tips and demonstrates digging the hole, planting coffee seedlings, mulching, training coffee seedlings, and stamping coffee.
Starting with the digging the hole or hole making up to planting. We have selected a very good site. This is an old coffee garden, but we have to do gap filling. And you can see we got a very good site which there's sunshine, there's space, the air movement is good, and the soil is fertile. Here we do a coffee banana planting system, so it is near a banana plant, so it's not a problem. So as he's going to dig, we are going to use this one. So already he had started, but the width is 2 feet square, and then the depth will be also 2 feet. He is going to separate the soil. The top soil he had started is put here, and the bottom soil is separated. Depending on the soil texture and depth is the top soil. So the top soil is very rich in microorganisms, organic matter, etc. This one. But this one is red soil, so we put it aside. When you have manure, like compost, you can add mix here in this top. You add mix manure, or this is liquid manure. You add mix with the top soil to increase the fertility and the organic manure content. The use of topsoil is to first give the life to the seedling because it has a lot of fertility. If the soil is black, it means it contains a lot of fertility and water. And the black soils always have, they retain soil temperature, good soil temperature. This soil is the most important item in coffee production. Apart from the good seedling, the improved one, etc, etc, the best thing is to have a very, very good hull. And even if you don't do a lot of practices, this hull enough can do about 50% of very good coffee production. After feeding here, we would have marked the what? The hole, you see? It is here. So you put in the center. And then you leave the hole to set. We call it setting. It cools down. The chemistry, the biology goes on, and then even if there's too much rain, this hole will not be submerged.
Farmers are encouraged to adopt good agricultural practices to get high yields, good prices and better income from coffee. These tips are brought to you by Uganda Coffee Development Authority.
Okay, after like this, if you have made it like this, assuming now this, at least this one tries now to balance, when you look at the top and the base, it's a bit balanced. This, it's almost the same size with the base. Now, when you see the amount of seeds you put here, practically I think you can see that the seeds were less. I don't know if I'm right.
Yeah. On the sides.
They should have been after.
On the
yeah, on the sides. Yeah. That is one. Then, even in between.
Really? Last time?
The spacing you left in between is too wide. You need more seeds. This is how many centimeters in between?
They were doing this.
And then here? Actually, it's better here you do this. You do this, you have this wider so that your seeds can be spaced properly. It shouldn't be congested. You see now like here. You see this, when they germinate all like this in one spot, these will compete on the nutrients, then end up having very tiny seedlings. So better you have spaced seedlings.
It's now time for questions, and Edith's gardener, John Wepukulu, has an insightful inquiry.
Na hii mvua imechelewa kupanda. Ama generator ya kuleta maji kwa shamba nipande imecheleweza nini? Dawa gani yenye naweza pika hii vitunguu epike ekuwe kufumiliamo mpaka nifanye hii mpango ya kupanda?
I don't get back.
What is he asking?
I got the question. The question is, what he's asking is that if he has prepared his nursery, the seedlings are ready for transplanting, and there's no water for transplanting, no rain for transplanting.
Yes.
Is there any chemical which he can use to keep the chemical, the seedlings dormant?
Yeah.
That's the question. Yeah, excellent question. Interesting. Yeah, basically, with the onions, it's not there. Onions bulb according to the day length. Once they are ready to start bulbing, even if they're in the nursery, if their days have reached, they will start. They will bulb.
Even the nursery bed.
In the nursery bed, yes, they will bulb from the nursery.
And when
the only way to control that, if you are worried, you don't know when the rains will start, or you don't have enough water source. There are two things you have to do. You either adjust on your sowing dates, or if you have already sowed your seeds, don't give them enough nutrients. Now you have to play with the nutrients. The moment you play with the nutrients, the seedlings will be tiny. They don't grow very fast. From there, you can push them with 1 or 2 weeks ahead. But if you give them The leaves, so long as the leaves, the number of leaves, they are 4, 5, they will start bulbing.
Finally, Taban gives a summary report on how Edith's nursery is performing.
You already have dumping off.
Yeah.
You saw the seedlings are like falling off.
Yeah.
The amount of water was not enough.
Because most of them dried up and then they started falling.
Yes. So it caused that. But since now rains are on, you get carbendazole, and then you get foliar fertilizer. Which one do you have?
Starter.
Yeah. Spray it as soon as possible. Even today, if
Yeah,
possible.
actually we were supposed
Put there the starter, then tomorrow you come with carbendazole. If you have it. If you don't have it, you can get it. Mistress, leave it for now. That is now curative stage. Carbendazole.
We leave Ngenge for Kapchora district, just in time to witness Joan's Kolongei Women's Group transplanting the seedling for the main garden. We climb the mountain Elgon slopes to reach one's group garden. The group is preparing ridges ready for onion transplanting.
We are ready for transplanting, and here in the garden, while in the nursery bed we've had some challenges. First and foremost, when we bedded our seedlings, we had drought, we did not have enough water. So we're moving a long way to the well to fetch water and then bring it to water the onions. But nevertheless, it did very well and it has worked out. It has germinated 95% for red cod. And for red nice, it has germinated 85%. For red nice, it's the first time we are having it in Kapchora, but still it has done very well. But I'm not saying that the 15% is missing. I'm sure it's going to gain in the garden when we go to the field. So we are taking it to the field and I'm sure it's going to do better. We want to change the soil and see to it that it's doing very well. For red cod, it's also very nice and we are good to go. We are now in the garden. Then this one we're going to put some ridges.
Ridges on top?
Yes.
Across or along?
Across.
You want to go across, why not along?
Which one is fair? Along is okay. Fine. We can go by that. Yes. As long as it works. We want something that will be able to control running water. So yes, that's why we use this method. We are also next to the forest, so it's purely cold here. So I want to put it with some distance.
Enough spacing?
Like, yeah.
Aeration around?
Yes, yeah, also there.
Okay, yeah, that's correct. But how about 4? Because this, if you are in lowland, on this bridge which is 1 meter wide, in lowland you do 6.
Okay.
6 lines. Now here, how about if you do 4?
Let's try and see which can work.
Since temperatures in highlands tend to get lower than those in lowlands, Taban advises the Kolongei Women's Group to plant 3 rows of seedlings on the onion ridges as opposed to 6 to create space and reduce chances of fungal diseases.
Here, for areas like this which has this kind of slopes, need a system where you plant on beds, so that in case of any heavy rains, your plants will remain on top, and then all the excess water goes down and it drains, it goes away. On that side of the weather, I have to look also on the weather of this area. This is a highland where by the night temperatures always drop below 15 degrees. In such areas, there's always higher chances of fungal development, and therefore for them to have a better crop here, they will need to have a serious note on fungal diseases. They can only manage it by application of fungicide, curative fungicide, and preventative fungicide. And then also they have to be keen watching on pests like thrips, aphids, mites. Those pests are economical to the plants, especially for the onions. They are sucking pests. Once they attack your onions, they take all the all the sugars, and then your plants will remain without any sugar. Remember, sugars are the energy for the plant to grow, and the sugars make the chlorophyll of the plant, the green color.
If phosphorus in the soil is low, then you need to apply the ammonium phosphate fertilizer.
That fertilizer is for one plant. Are you right?
Yeah.
It's too much. To put 10 grams for one plant is too much. Actually, 10 grams is supposed to supply 1 square meter. 20 grams is for 1 square meter. Now with 20 grams, you are giving it only for 2 plants.
So it will take a little fertilizer. Then we've got to reduce. Yeah. Learning is a continuous process. We want it.
Yeah.
What will be the effect if they put 10 grams on one plant?
10 grams in one plant, the effect is, 1, you are wasting your fertilizer. That's number 1. Number 2, the covering, if someone is not keen enough to cover that fertilizer, the roots will penetrate, will go into the fertilizer. When the fertilizer is still fresh there, it will burn those roots, and then the plant will dry. You will lose your plant.
Okay.
So basically, the best way you reduce on the quantity of the fertilizer you're applying per hole, because you're doing per hole.
There's a shit one?
Even here, someone can follow. Someone can follow.
When transplanting, space your onion seedlings according to the desired onion bulb size. Most common spacings are 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters, giving you 100 plants per meter squared. Be careful not to plant the seedlings too deep. Simply place the roots and a small part of the neck in the hole created. Then cover with soil, leaving most of the seedling structure above the soil.
That's basic. Boxes.
To help a seedling survive during drought, chop off half the leaves to allow the seedling to focus on building a stronger root system.
This system of chopping onions, it helps when you transplant these onions during drought. The plant will first concentrate on establishing the root system instead of the foliage. By the time the foliage it generates, the roots will have developed and will have very firm plant. This one will start, you can just copy.
I want to appreciate everybody, most of the viewers. I want to appreciate all the government officials who support farming. First, beginning with the President of the Republic of Uganda. Your Excellency, you're doing a very good job. You're a farmer yourself, and you've got to do more for the women out there. You've got to support them more so on vegetable farming. That's a lot. It has worked out for me, Joa, and especially the women of Kolonge. It has worked out for them. I do not want to forget Brigadier Wesije Patrick. You trained me on 11th November at Kazi Scouts ground, and you taught me to do a lot of farming. I'm doing it now. I did not want to go in for the pledge that was made by the president one time because I chased it and I couldn't find it. I decided to create work for myself than going out to hustle for a job, and I buy shoes every day. Farming works, and Red Coach the best.
Join us next time on this vegetable growing part series of Farm Matters to see how Edith's and Joan's onion gardens will have yielded.